Hi students, welcome. Today we're going to learn about the properties of lights. In this topic we're going to learn about the light travels in the straight line. Light can be reflected and light can be refracted. Today we're going to state the light travel in the straight line by carrying out the activity, the factor that affected size of shadow and the shape of the shadow. Last week we already learned that sun, fire and lamp are source of the lights. Light is a form of energy that enables us to see objects around us. Light travels from its source to be surrounding in all directions. Light also is faster than sound does. This causes the lightning to be always seen before the thunder is here. Light travels in the straight line, and this property of light has caused a number of phenomena around us. A simple method to show the light travel in the straight line by looking through a rubber hose as shown in diagram. In diagram A, light can be seen through the rubber hose, but in diagram B, light cannot be seen through the bent rubber hose because the rubber hose is bent, so light couldn't travel in straight line. This is a simple experiment to show the light travel in the straight line that we learned last week. This is a method how we conduct this experiment. When the holes and candle flame are in the straight line, we can observe that light of the candle flame can be seen. But when the middle card is displayed slightly, the candle flame cannot be seen. Because light from the candle flame travel in the straight line and cannot pass through the middle card. So it's proof light travels in the straight line. These are some phenomena that show light travel in the straight line. Now we're going to learn about the shadow. Shadow is a form when light is blocked by an opaque object. Shadow will occur because the light cannot pass through an opaque object. There are two factors that affected the size of the shadow. Number one is distance between the object and the light source, and the distance between the object and the screen. Factor number one is the distance between the source of light and the object. When the source of light near to the object, the size of the shadow is increased or the size become bigger. If the light source of the light away from the object, the size of the shadow is decreased or the size of the shadow become smaller. So student, watch the shadow of the object. Now factor number two, that is the distance between the object and the screen. So when the object is closer to the screen, the size of the shadow is smaller. Otherwise, the size of the shadow will decrease. When the object is far from the screen, the size of the shadow is bigger or the size of the shadow increases. So, when the object close to the light source, the size of the shadow is bigger. When the object far from the light source, the size of the shadow is smaller. And when the object close to the screen, the size of the shadow is smaller. When the object far from the screen, the size of the shadow is bigger. The shape of the shadow also will change. It depends on the two factors, that is, position of the light source and orientation or position of the object that is placed. Now students, look at the shape of the mug. Now we couldn't see the handle that we holding the mug. We just see the basic shape of the mug. Now look at this. In the shadow, we can see the shape of square. Now, we only can see the line as a shadow. So, now we know that shape of the shadow is depend on the position of the light source and the orientation or position of the object placed. Dear students, before we end this session, we will recall back what we learned today. Number 1, light travel in the straight line. 2, size of the shadow. Number 3, shape of the shadow. Got another 2 more properties of light, that is, light can be reflected and light can be refracted. So, we will learn next week. See you all next week. Bye-bye.